Playing it by ear, working with sound in Premiere. So we've got our video here, and we've looked at how to do cross dissolves and affect the video based on what we're seeing. Now let's focus on how to address what we're hearing. One of the things already, for example, you'll notice that when I scrub the video, this isn't very loud. The reason it isn't loud is because of the fact that I wanted to keep the volume low while I'm recording and demonstrating this, so that when I'm scrubbing, it wouldn't sound all crazy and all over my dialogue. So what I did was, in selecting the clip and right mouse clicking, there's a selection called audio gain. By selecting audio gain, I had set the gain overall to minus 24 decibels. And what that did was that brought the volume of the clip in general way low so that it wouldn't sound funky when I was recording. Obviously, if I was going to put this out for the sake of actually creating a video from this file, I would change this back to, turning this off or setting gain back to 0 decibels and then working from there. One of the things that we want to do, or might want to do, for example, is in this transition, right? Let's say that instead of having my audio in the video clip of me here, the actual reference, if I wanted the audio to fade out from this and fade in from the animation clip, then there are transitions for audio as well. So here under audio transitions, going to crossfade. Constant gain is a reference to the gain going up or down. Exponential fade obviously fades down. So what I usually use is I use constant gain to come into a sound and exponential fade to go out of a sound or to fade down a sound. So in this case, I would use exponential fade at the end of this clip and extend the length of it to match where that other clip starts, and use constant gain here at the beginning of the clip and have it line up with that. And what that does...
Baseball? Hey, can I have one? Really? An autographed baseball? Wait, really? An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
It has the audio, as you heard, fade out at the very beginning from this and fade into this at the same time. I can tweak those settings and how fast or slow it does that fade to what I would want it to be. I usually also add a gain at the very beginning of the clip so that way the sound doesn't pop on when the video starts and it fades up instead. You can also at the very end of the movie, so to speak, add an exponential fade there so that at the very end the sound would fade out nicely in the same way that I might fade to black at the very end of a video. So that basically covers audio transitions. The next thing we can look at is how to deal with overall audio. As I mentioned, you can adjust the gain here. There's also a window that allows you to do audio mixing. So there's the audio clip mixer, which allows you to see what the levels are as you're playing. You can see where that level is. So if I turn off the audio gain here so that you can actually see how this would look normally. So you can see that sometimes the audio goes into where it starts to get yellow. That's where you're going to start getting some distortion of the sound. So you can either adjust the gain or adjust the level here in order to make sure that the sound never gets into the yellow. There's also another window here under Audio Track Mixer. This also allows you to affect the sound and see what the levels are. So this is your master, and this is where all the different audio is coming in. So for example, if I had a separate audio track like music that I wanted to have playing through the whole thing, and I added that to the second track, then this would allow me to, adjust what the volume is of the music uh, as the other video is playing, and I can adjust those settings here. You can actually also mix even 5.1 surround sound in a setting like this. So let's say if I go here to new project or new sequence, and let's say I was, doing the same kind of video, but I wanted to mix 5.1 surround sound. If I go into tracks, I can change the master from just regular stereo to 5.1 by selecting 5.1. And if I want to, let's say, since 5.1 is left, middle, center, right, and then also back, left, back, right, I can add so that I have a total of 5 channels. I can leave these as standard and click OK. Now you can see that in this audio track mixer, we now have this icon, this graph here. And what that actually is a reference to is it allows me to specify what part of the 5.1 surround, like what space in the sound space, what location the sound would have. So for example, I could set this to be the left front sound. This could be the center sound. This could be the right front sound. This could be the left rear and the right rear. And I could specify audio channels that would specifically only play through those speakers. I could also, if I wanted to, have an additional channel that would do panning sounds. So for example, like if there was a helicopter going by, and to have the sound of the helicopter move from the left to the right, I can actually even record that in here and have that happen. This gets pretty involved, so I'm not going to explain that necessarily right now in this particular tutorial. You could do a whole tutorial just on sound in Premiere. But it's cool to know that it has that kind of functionality. In CS6, this works almost exactly the same way. You have the audio transitions here with crossfade, so constant gain and exponential fade. And if you wanted to mix sound, even like having 5.1, going to tracks, creating a new sequence, setting that to 5.1, having channels, let's say adding a 6th channel for the sake of mixing. Click OK, go to the audio mixer. Here's our icon, so we could specify this is the left, this is the center, here's the right, back left, back right. And then we could even have an additional channel that specifies either effects that are going to travel so that they are not consistently always coming out of a certain speaker, or any other kind of effect that we would like to have. And we can set all that up, and you can see here that all those tracks exist here, so you can drop individual clips. You can drop the master clip and amplify certain sounds at certain times. All of that is keyable. If you open up the mixer here, so for example, if I go back here, to our original sequence, you can look here in the audio channel. You can see that you have the ability here to show keyframes, and you can show track keyframes, show track volume. And then what you can do is you can set keys here. So add or remove a keyframe. I can set a keyframe here. And let's say that I wanted the audio to be at a volume level here. I could then have the audio at a certain moment fade down. So let's say if I brought the volume level, you can see that that icon changes to an up and down. I can move the volume down, and it's showing what that volume is being, the decibel is changing to. And by letting go there, set a key, I can actually make this larger so that I can see it better. And I can grab and adjust that key so that the volume dips down And let's say I want it to stay low until here, and then have it crank back up again here. Set a key, move that back up, bring the decibel level back to 0. And you can actually see the slider here animating, and you can see it going up and showing that change there. So that gives a little bit of an introduction about how to work with sound in Premiere. And in our next section, we're going to discuss adding video effects to your presentation in Did You See That? Using video effects.